bananas.
I wish I knew. I would have planned this a little bit better, actually.
It's so hard to find people.
Yes, I bet.
No pictures.
I'm good.
How's Mr. Custer this morning?
Good morning.
How,
Steve, Carol Aaronson's.
Yeah. Stories out there.
We announced, sure enough, one day we're in the lodge and all of a sudden, boom.
Judy needs. Wow.
Kind of where SeaWorld is. Okay.
Another view on Shady Trail.
Yeah.
My first.
What years were you here?
79 to 80.
we're going to sing it, obviously. So now, all right, Lance, what are you going to start with?
Okay, the welcome song.
All right.
This is the one you mentioned on 35. That's another car left. The one next to him is Bilto. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard the name Bilto before, but you have. Yeah.
To the left.
Now. Oh, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th from the left.
I recognized you.
Yeah. And Judy, I'm in the second row, fourth from the right.
One more, I think. Yeah, but right.
Yeah, there you
I
are.
think that's me. What was his name?
Eugene Wow.
Wally, that's Gene Wally?
On the top.
In the bottom row.
He was a dear friend of my grandfather, and when my grandfather would come to count.
Third in on the left.
Right.
I think she's working on that.
Yeah, she's compiling that list.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm going up from right here.
This is you?
Okay. Oh, here I am.
There he is.
Here's me, and this guy called Bill Hamilton. Well, Mark, where are you that picture?
I'm on the left, about 5 in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh,
Yeah.
there he is.
Sure.
There I am.
Sure.
Right by your finger. Yep.
Here?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Left of center.
Yeah, left of center too.
Jeff Adamzak.
Thomas B. Brenner.
John N. Clancy, founder and director. Grace M. Clancy.
Moving on, we have mail. As you can see, we have mail. And those of you who have been to camp know that Mr. Clancy had a tradition, followed by Dr. Prinz, followed by me. I don't know how long it lasted after that. But when the mail would come at noon, Mr. Clancy would throw out the mail. He would call out the names, the people would raise their hand, and he was excellent. I mean, he could land it right on the table in front of you. First letter is to Bob Crispin. The next one goes to Maureen Massey. Next one goes to Howard Hodges. The next one goes to Tim Carter. Do we have announcements? Mrs. Bishop.
It's been a wonderful week. Thank you for everyone's hard work.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming today.
I don't want you to think that I'm tooting my horn, but I want to tell you something. Because of 3 summers here, I became a school teacher, and I taught high school building trades, and I taught in the Air Force. And when I taught in the Air Force, a guy came in the back room when I was in instructor school, and it's a good thing I didn't know, because he was going to determine whether I was fluent enough to become an instructor. I became an instructor there. Anyhow, I became a high school building trades teacher, and in 1975 I was selected as Kalamazoo County's Single Teacher of the Year. And it all points back to things here, and we all carry something in here. You know, this is a magical place. Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Thank you. One reason why I think these reunions are here is because of a particular individual. I know I went online when I first discovered the Shady Trails website, and we talked about reunions back and forth. And so we postponed it. And then it came up again, I think, for 2012. And again, I'm a procrastinator, and the same kind of thing rolled around, and Jim Emery called me and said, no, we're gonna have it. Well, I'm more of a promoter kind of guy, and he's more of an organizer, help with the finances. So I thank Jim Emery for helping me to make sure that a goal and a desire and a dream was met. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. On my envelope, it says DBS and D. If you know what those letters mean, please stand. DBS and D. And weren't you a little proud of having those letters behind here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I put it on everything.
Absolutely. Especially important stationery that you absolutely, absolutely.
People ask me all the time.
Yeah. Okay, explain it. Help me out here.
The doctors of the brainless surgery and the drama were the alumni of Camp Shady Trails. They had to produce a Miffler because we didn't ask them to do, the kids to do anything that the staff hadn't done themselves. So Miffler is a original playlet, written, produced, and directed, and acted in by each cabin group. And they were put on Saturday night, right over here, behind 2 canvas curtains. There was a whole cabinet in the staff office of Miffler props. And the reason it's called a Miffler was because I understand the legend right. Dr. Bloomer wrote the first Miffler. It was given at the old camp, and it was called The Miffling Mystery of the Missing Broom. Evidently, they only had one broom, and it went missing. So they had this play, the actual content of which is lost to antiquity. You were heard asking a question. Are you miffling? No, we miffled last week. When will you miffle? Well, I don't think we're going to miffle till the end of the summer. So it took on a whole life of its own. We are the doctors of the brainless surgery. We'll cure all your problems and do it free. We have a cure-all on which we rely for mumps and measles and even PI. And we are also doctors of the drama. We will stage a panorama. Something, something for all you can see. We're the doctors of the brainless surgery. Hey!
So imagine me with a white sheet around me and sandals. Can you do that? I'm a one-eyed lama from Tibet. The lama's a priest, as you might suspect. The two-eyed lama, au contraire, carries bundles above his derriere. And a three-eyed lama, if you so inquire, in Alabama's mighty requires. My ambition is to find the meaning of life, a difficult task in these days of strife. In my home country of Tibet, I haven't found the answer yet. So I hopped on a plane and across the ocean came I to seek the proper potion to give me the meaning of life. New York City, Broadway and Vine, buddy, can you spare a dime? Past me many people scurried. What's the meaning of life, I queried. The answer, they said, to your inquiry lies far, far away in the North Country. So here we are, we shall prevail. The answer, you see, is shame.
Woody met this really charming girl, happened to be Sue, and I met another girl whose name I've since long forgotten. Marilyn. Oh, Marilyn. And so I said to Woody, I said, why don't we switch? And it didn't have, the girls had really no option in the process. And what, you know, and anyway, Woody was never too bright. After 6 weeks, I proposed, and Sue said, that is such a line. And I said, you know, you don't propose to a girl, that's not a line. You know, that's serious stuff. The wedding was set for September 21st. You remember camp was over about August 21st. We made Woody the best man. We got married. We'll be married September 21st. It'll be 50 years. All right. So, that's right.
So much easier taking care of the bigger kids. I mean, there's basically, all you have to do is just make sure that they show up. I mean, on you guys down in the junior divisions, in other words, at night on the cabin checks and that kind of stuff that we would do, we'd find those kids down in the junior division. They'd be on the floor out of bed, you know. They would fall out of bed down there. They'd be crying, I mean, you know, because they are only 7, 8, and 9 years old. And they would get homesick. As a lot of the former campers have said, being a camper here and then also being a counselor here, it changes your life. And I could have never done my life if it wouldn't have been, for instance, at this camp and the help of John Clancy, Dave Prince, and Dave Fields. Thank you.
I want to do a shout out to my good friend Bernie Weiner. He's doing well. He actually was able to attend the last NSA convention in Chicago this year, but he wasn't up to coming up here. So I want to do a shout out to him, a wonderful guy. The topic I wanted to talk about is givers and takers. Bob, this is not just givers and takers. You have a scientific background. You know about normal distributions and bell-shaped curves. He said, it goes, there's a continuum, and most of the people are givers sometimes and takers sometimes, and only at the extremes. Well, and there's only one small percentage over there. Now, he looked at me and he said, do you know any pure givers? And I thought about it. I said, I actually know two. And he said, how can that be? And I said, well, you need to meet them. I said, the two pure givers I can cite right now are Tom and Judy Custer. And that's a true story.
I do want to reiterate what everyone's been saying. about what the camp has meant. And I've told several people what it's meant to me, and it's the truth. I mean, it's changed my life. And there's also things that you learn as lessons along the way. And one is carry a flashlight with you, because one night I came back from my day off and it was really dark, no moon, and it was really dark, but I thought I was following the path, and I ran right into a tree, right out there. It really hurt. And my nose and my shoulder, I think, and so I came right to the kitchen, I iced it down, and I didn't tell anybody. That's my big story. Is that enough?
That's enough.
How many of you know how Wang Ho got started? And it starts way back in Hong Kong, when the lovely Suan Sung met up with Sam Ho, who was from Sichuan. Their only child was Wang Ho. He decided to immigrate to America. So although the voyage from Hong Kong to San Francisco was reasonably calm, there were some shortages. And so Mr. Ho, being a little larger than the average, often was able to prevail even if there was some physical contact involved. And when everybody got off in San Francisco and somebody said, well, what are we going to do? We have to get somebody to decide this. And everybody yelled, Wang Ho! And Wang Ho had to decide all this stuff. Well, there was so much going on during the voyage. Everything, people were throwing out fingers and fists. And that's how Wang Ho got started. It's just much more organized today. So it's really a Chinese tradition. Thank you.
Every year there would be a contest between the gentlemen of the Park Avenue, who were the youngest kids, and the members of the university club, who were the oldest kids. This hole digging contest pitted the big guys against the little guys, but there was a factor. Computing the digger's height and weight, and then it was multiplied by another number so that you had a factor. And it was always fun to see new U Club guys who were pretty robust, thinking they were just going to bury these little guys in their digging. Well, when they get down there, the heats, I think, would be a minute long.
Yeah, I think so.
Perhaps. And so both contestants would just dig as far down as they could, and then with all ceremony, a straight stick would be laid across the top of the hole, and the depth very carefully measured and then computed with this factor. There might have been some individual heats where a U Clubber beat an individual Park Avenue member, but when the total was tallied up, I don't think the result was ever close.
I don't ever remember the U Club winning.
No, I don't. No.
Does anybody know the story of how the Park Avenue came to be named the Park Avenue? Originally it was called the Zoo. And so the little kids got teased a lot about being little monkeys that lived. So one day, I'm sure coached by some wise major years and years ago, had one of the little campers stand up and said, "We are not monkeys that live in the zoo. We are gentlemen from the Park Avenue." And next year they changed the name on the cabin, and they were no longer the zoo, they were the Park Avenue.
Wow. Yes, I can remember being in Park Avenue with the digging against the big guys in the University Club. We had to go down probably 2 foot, and the big guys had to go down probably 6 foot in the sand. And most of the time the Park Avenue guys won. It was rivals there, so. That all.
Talked to my parents and said, you have to go. I didn't want to go.
for a month out, I said, I have to stop stuttering. I have 4 weeks to stop stuttering. Then it was 3 weeks, then it was 2 weeks, then it was 1 week. Of course, I couldn't stop stuttering. So I came to camp. I'm sure I had the blue earlobes for a while, but I loved it. What Clancy was really about, it wasn't about, it was about making you feel good about yourself. I just blossomed as an athlete here. I came back the first year. I finished 3rd in the city meet in the 100-yard dash. The next year, I won the state championship in the half mile, and then 2 years later, I set a record in the quarter mile. So, but it all happened because I felt good about myself and so forth. And it's led to many wonderful things, including meeting my wonderful wife, and she's been supportive. But it all started with the basis of John Clancy and the camp and feeling good about yourself.
I made a big jump from Park Avenue to the Wolverine. But I learned something different. When the Roosters became the young ones, and the girls became the young girls. And in the contest, something happened, amazing. Usually every year being the guys in 1980. Guess what? The big boys were was doing the digging against the young girls.
Oh, gee.
1980. I thought that was, I thought like, that was surprising to me. I thought they were going to use the young Roosters to do that. I said, no, there had to be Park Avenue name against youth club every year. So, so that's what I had to learn. The second I was doing that.
Now, there was a show on Broadway that summer, Your Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the songs from that play is Happiness Is. And those of us who knew that Dr. Prince was leading wanted to make this last staff banquet pretty special as we could. And so we got together and we morphed Happiness Is into Shady Trails Is. Shady Trails is the camp on Grand Traverse, founded by Clancy, strengthened by Prince. Shady Trails is meals cooked by Ruthie, cherry pie and Fruit Loops, throwing the mail. Shady Trails is watching our kids as they grow along. Improving speech is what it's all about. Shady Trails is going to speech class, learning good speech and following through. Shady Trails is songs led by Hathaway, announcements by Bishop, lectures till noon. Shady Trails is giving round robins and mifflers too, to use good speech in everything we do. Shady Trails is Mueller's infirmary, painting those earlobes, checking the health. Shady Trails is marine incineration, hole digging contest too. Yes, Shady Trails is all these things, and all these things are shared by you and us.
Why did you go to Northport?
Oh, for speech work.
Oh.
We were always expected, that was the opportunity to go in and talk to strangers. And so the idea was, go up, hi, my name's Dave Williams. I'm from Camp Shady Trails. I'm a stutterer.
Do you think you've gotten rid of it?
No, I'm aware of still stuttering.
Okay.
I don't often get tied up, but I realize that, wow, I just bumbled that one pretty well.
There's one.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is Robert Kurtz calling. I enjoyed the camp very, very much. It was one of the exciting points of my youth growing up, and I have wonderful memories of the camp as well as John Clancy. They were very wonderful people. John and Grace Clancy, and I'm just glad to maintain contact with some of the people involved there, and I'm just glad to be able to record this for the Shady Trails reunion.
This is Brett Harrison. I was at Shady Trails from 1968 to 1970. I don't have a lot of time. I want to say hi to all the counselors and all the campers from that period. I've had an interesting life. I did stand-up comedy for a bit. Didn't do too well, but I did do some material about the camp. If you notice, I still have a hesitation, but I'm about 80% fluent. There are times, though, that I'm 100%. Hope all is well. Thank you.
So we have a little something in appreciation to Jim.
Thank you very much.
Very good. And Howard.
Thank you very much. And the campers. Yeah.
Very good. A round of applause for these guys. Bob Chrisman, come up here, please. I know you don't want to. Paula, come up here.
Ooh.
Yeah. We're talking about the good food that we had for
this
us.
gal, I'll tell you what a gift to have.
Offer this as a token of our gratitude.
Thank you.
We'd like to recognize Judy and Tom Custer. If they would come up, we have a little something for them.
On behalf of everybody here, including all past campers and all past staff, we of Shady Trails, to our honorary campers, would like to present you with this token of appreciation. It says, an appreciation of your priceless contribution to the Shady Trails legacy. I'm sorry, this is speech camp, so you can say something.
I can say something? I have to say something that when we adopted 7 children and adding to our 2 biological children, I decided we had to do some things to create family memories. And one thing I did was I had an orange supper every day on Halloween. Everything had to be orange. And they still remember that, and they still do that to this day. But you know, you're sharing your memories with me and with Tom like you do. Have made me feel like part of the family. And thank you so much for that gift. Thank you.
We are naming an honorary camp mother tonight in perpetuity, and this award goes to Judy Custer. Presenting the award is Shady Hill.
And it's going to be delivered to Wally's down in San Diego. So, proclamation by Shady Trails campers and staff, whereas H. Walter Behringer served Shady Trails camp as camper and kitchen boy, counselor, and major in sterling fashion, and
whereas H. Walter Behringer never backed away from a hole digging contest, no matter how fearsome the Park Avenue competitor, and
whereas H. Walter Behringer served Shady Trails with unparalleled wisdom, warmth, and caring, and
whereas H. Walter Behringer is the wondrous combination of Mahatma Gandhi and Mark Anthony, and
whereas noble monikers such as Cape Crusader and Man of Steel have already been bestowed upon worthy individuals, we thereby proclaim as of August 11, 2018, that
H. Walter Behringer, DBS&D, be now forever known as
Mr. Park Avenue.
Oh,
He was my camp counselor when I was in the Park Avenue and scared the bejeebers out of me. He would look over his glasses at me, the 3-bite rule, and I'll put the 3 bites on my plate. And as a major, there was nobody kinder more gentle. It didn't matter how bad the kid was. He'd sit down in the sand with them and take a stick and draw something and get the best speech out. I had him come down to look at a set of twins that I had when I was working in Grand Blanc. Just so gifted. Talk about having a heart for Shady Trails and for handicapped kids. He served them all of his life.